Hey, welcome back. Today we're picking up where we left off in our two-parter with the episode 731, episode 10 of season 3. Debuting December 1st, 1995, 731 picks up where we left off as Mulder boards a train rigged with a bomb and carrying an extraterrestrial. The episode begins as military vehicles seem to be in quite the rush. Oh, there's nothing worse than Hansen's disease. The soldiers round up a bunch of lepers, but these don't exactly look like people suffering from leprosy to me. Aliens look a lot less creepy when they're wearing pajamas. I don't even know what to say after that. This show can be pretty dark at times. Oh yeah, Mulder's still on top of the train like a lunatic. Scully wants to know just what the hell is going on, but X isn't about to tell her a damn thing. As we've learned in the past, Scully has a bit of a temper, and she proves it when she attempts to pull her gun out on X. She's lucky he doesn't just turn it around on her, but he tells her whatever she wants to know, what's on the train, who killed her sister. All she has to do is find out what that implant is, because it will hold all the information she needs. I mean, he could just tell her, but these guys always have to be so cryptic with everything. Mulder needs to find a way inside the train car. Luckily for him, Homer Simpson just so happens to be the conductor. I mean, he does look like Dan Castellaneta. Unfortunately, the conductor can't open the car because he doesn't have access to it. But Dr. Shirozama might be able to, and well, wouldn't you know it, he just so happens to be on the train. Although he seems to be away at the moment. Look, I can't read Japanese, but to my untrained eye, I'd say every single one of those pages are the exact same.
I want you to make them lie on the ground until I get back, okay? You understand?
I'm not sure giving a random person your weapon is proper FBI procedure, but since when does Mulder follow proper procedure? While Mulder searches for the doctor, Scully is with Agent Pendrell as they attempt to figure out just what this implant is.
So it makes sense that it would be recording the impulses traveling to and from the central nervous system.
Whoa, slow down, egghead.
Based off what Pendrell has discovered, the implant may be able to store memories like a hard drive or even be used to read someone's most inner thoughts. Which would be really bad for me if Scully were able to read my thoughts.
Well, son, I guess you're right. I am a butthead.
Pendrell, not being known for his delicate touch, unfortunately destroyed the implant in the process, but did discover it was shipped to Dr. Shirozama in Perky, West Virginia. Scully gets surprisingly touchy when she thanks him, and boy does he fumble the bag.
Well done, Agent Pendrell. Keep up the good work.
Hey, thanks. Keep it up yourself.
This is like when a server at a restaurant tells you to enjoy your meal and you say you too. After that, you kinda just want to disappear. Dr. Zama finally makes his way back to his car and is immediately killed by the red-haired man. Scully makes her way to the leper colony where Dr. Zama was apparently sent the implant, and there she discovers the last of the lepers hiding under the floor. With the doctor dead, Mulder now has no way of getting inside that train car. Scully speaks with the lepers, and these people are actual lepers. They were afraid she was going to kill them, and given what's happened to all the others up to this point, I don't blame them. Scully is brought to one of the death pits, and you would think the military would burn it or something. What if a random person just walked by and found a pit full of deformed bodies?
They're coming.
Wait! Hey!
No.
Did Scully's mere presence just screw over the rest of the people hiding? Based on that gunshot, I'd say so. Mulder makes his way back to the train car, and it looks like someone else managed to get it open. While Mulder takes a gander at the alien, the red-haired man comes up from behind and starts to choke him, which just so happens to be his kink. If it weren't for the balls of steel on the conductor to come in brandishing an unloaded gun, Mulder may not have survived this one. This guy would have made for a great G-Man in a Half-Life movie, no? The conductor locks both men inside, but he didn't really have much of an option now, did he? Mulder has the upper hand now, but the mystery man appears to be NSA. Not sure why NSA is choking people with wire though. The man tells Mulder that the train is rigged with a bomb, and it was activated the moment he entered, because Dr. Shirozama doesn't want whatever is on the train to survive.
I'd like to speak with Miss Scully alone.
Scully gets dragged in to speak with the First Elder, also known as the Well-Fed Man. You know, because he's a little on the rotund side. Look, don't get angry at me, I didn't name the character. He starts giving her nonsense about all the people here being exposed to something, and maybe even herself being exposed to something, and she just seems to accept what he's saying. I'll say a lot of their problems would go away if they just got a little more trigger happy at times.
When I used the code to enter the car, it activated the bomb. Use it again and almost certainly set it off.
The red-haired man thinks the code given to him to board the car will set the bomb off if they try and use it to leave, so they're gonna have to think of another way off or find another code. But strangely, the red-haired man gets a call from the First Elder so Scully can speak to Mulder.
Scully.
It all makes sense, Mulder. Ishimaru Uzama, he was using the secret railroad to conduct his tests across the country.
Why does she question every single thing Mulder ever says, but meets this one random guy and believes everything he says? Alright, there's a lot to unpack, but basically, alien abduction isn't real, Scully and the others were taken aboard these train cars by Shirozama to conduct experiments, and the alien isn't an alien. It's a product of the experiments and is carrying a hemorrhagic fever. Oh, and she knows there's a bomb on the train. Mulder fakes a connection loss in their call because he knows they need to stop the train somewhere safe. He tells the conductor to reroute the train and get them as far away from any populated area as they can, and then unhook the railcar. With the train car uncoupled, Mulder and the red-haired man are basically just waiting to die. Well, someone's gonna die.
Damn it, Mulder, what happened?
We're not gonna make that station, Scully.
Yeah, I figured that. Do you have any idea where you are?
So while Scully finds a way to get Mulder out, the two men decide to have a little chat. Again, we have so much to unpack. According to the red-haired man, the thing locked up is an experiment. Dr. Zama was trying to sneak it out of the country back to Japan, where they could study it more, because it had become immune to radiation and biological weapons, which would give the Japanese a big leg up in any war. It also isn't a leper of any kind, but a human-alien hybrid, and the bomb was a failsafe by the Americans to make sure it never left the country. I thought she was about to play a tape from Mulder's personal collection. Scully's in Mulder's place awaiting the arrival of X when she decides to watch the autopsy tape again. She calls Mulder back to tell him she may have the combination for the door. In a rather tense moment, Mulder gets the door open but is immediately attacked by the red-haired man, and he lays down quite the beating. Yeah, except this is the X-Files, and no one gets away that easy. It was our boy X and what has to be one of the most heroic things he's ever done in the series. He's usually fairly sketchy, but this is one of the only times where he actually seemed to be kind of a good guy. He probably could have saved the human-alien hybrid if he wanted to, but he chose to save Mulder instead, which I think says something about his character. He even gets his badass walk away from an explosion without looking back moment.
Nothing, Scully. Not the rail operators, not the forestry department. Nobody knows what happened to that train car.
The train car seems to have just vanished without a trace, and a random call was placed to alert a nearby hospital of Mulder's location. But beyond that, it's as if nothing ever happened. The only thing that was recovered from the train was Dr. Zama's briefcase with his journals. But again, if you're gonna flip through someone's journals, please make sure the pages aren't all the exact same. 731 is a fun conclusion to our two-parter with a pretty tense ending, especially if you've never seen it before. Half of the episode feels like it's hitting a reset button on Scully's beliefs after what she saw on Paperclip. Now she has an entirely new explanation for everything that's been going on, so she no longer has to think that it could possibly be aliens. Now it's Japanese war criminals and lepers that may look like aliens, but were really just the result of horrible experimentation. The other half is a fun race against the clock as Mulder has to find his way off a train rigged with a bomb, while also dealing with a mysterious man who may or may not work for the Syndicate. He said he was NSA, but how would the First Elder just happen to have his phone number? Unless the First Elder is also part of the NSA. I mean, these guys do have their fingers in just about everything, it seems. Also, poor Agent Pendrell. Maybe next time he won't make a buffoon of himself, but we've all been there, my friend. 731 currently has an 8.7 on IMDb, and I think it's earned it. I may actually like the previous episode more, but I think that has more to do with the alien autopsy stuff more than anything. Rob Bowman directed the episode, and he was really happy with the final product. He thought the action and intensity in the episode made it feel like a movie, but on a much smaller scale. Rob even claimed this episode impressed Chris Carter so much that it was the reason why he was asked to direct the first X-Files movie. Again, for this episode, David would perform his own stunts while on top of the train. He was strapped to it with a harness and cable, both of which were removed in post-production, but needed the audience to believe that it was him on top of the train and not just a random stuntman. David and Stephen Williams were shot separately against a blue screen when it came to the explosive ending, which is pretty obvious when you watch it, but I think it's still pretty effective considering when the show came out and its smaller budget. The train car explosion itself required the use of 7 cameras, 45 gallons of gasoline, and 120 black powder bombs. The train car had been purchased rather cheaply because it was set to be scrapped due to some bending in the frame. Dave Gauthier, physical effects supervisor, found a bell from the train car a good distance away from the explosion, so he had it engraved and polished with a message for Rob Bowman. Like in previous episodes, the aliens in the death pit were mostly children. They were dressed up to look like aliens or human-alien hybrids and laid on top of dozens of fake bodies. No new guest stars to speak of in this episode, but I wish Stephen McHattie had stayed around longer, because he has this presence to him that I think would have made for a good antagonist in the show. But I guess the show has enough already that they didn't really want to have yet another one. And I'm always disappointed that they really didn't do much with Robert Ito. He has a brief couple scenes in the previous episode and a few here, but I feel like his appearances were a wasted opportunity. I mean, it's not like he's a good guy. His character did some pretty horrific things, but they could have done so much more with him. 731 is a good conclusion to the two-parter that I think is only held back because it seems to just reset certain things back to the status quo rather than push them forward. Still though, a very good episode, and I highly recommend it. Next up, we have an interesting episode where Scully must protect a young boy from a serial killer who targets people with stigmata, and the episode, Revelations. What are your thoughts on 731? Is it as good as the previous episode? Is it better? Worse? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today. Thank you so much for all the support I've been getting lately, I really appreciate it. And as always, please, stay spooky.
Nothing you've ever seen.
Who are you?
I think you know.
Nothing you've ever heard
You have no idea what you're dealing with here.
could prepare you for the most thrilling X-Files ever.
Whatever is on that train is not alien.
You're wrong, Scully.
A brand new X-Files, Friday.